So this is a silver 4 Soraka on EU West. So it's Nelia Soraka versus Jhin Xerath. It's kind of a yucky poke lane to be in, and I'm not a huge fan of playing with Nelia anyway. So I can already tell pretty much straight away this lane is going to be difficult. I think right off the bat, I see something wrong already, and it's the summoners. I don't like the exhaust tip. Like 9 times out of 10, you want to go heal on Soraka anyway. But like if you look at the enemy team, there isn't really that much to exhaust against anyway. Like Xerath's gonna be poking max range. Ashe, I mean, it could be okay-ish against the Ashe, but like I don't know. By the time you land on the exhaust, I think most of the stuff's gonna be done anyway because of the range that's on that team. Like if they had like you could maybe make an argument for it if they had like an assassin, like a Zed or something like that, or an Akali, or you know, something along that kind of lines. But I don't agree with it on right now for this game at all.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Okay, so the bot lane's invading.
I am Neela of the 7th layer. Accept my challenge.
I think their level 1 is really good. Enemy team's level 1 is really good. What would you recommend if not Soraka with Nelia Ashe? I would say like a hard engage would be better here. Like they're pretty squishy and mobile bot lane. Like being able to jump onto them would probably be the best thing. So probably like a, and even like something like a Blitzcrank or something would be fine. Okay, Q misses. Yeah, the only thing you can really do in this lane is like, okay, that's good auto attack. You want to just be as proactive as you can. Like Xerath's done misses W, now's your time to go in, land a Q, good, and then get out again. Okay, you're poking in lane is fine. You're going to hit level 2 first, but you don't really have that much level 2 advantage over them. I mean, you just want to keep just trying to poke whenever you can and stuff, which does look like what you're trying to do. Yeah. It's just a horrible lane to be in. I feel like this is just probably going to be what the majority of laning phase is just going to be to look at. And if you get help with your jungler, it's going to be a pretty hard lane to fight into. Nice Q hit. The fact that you managed to find that was pretty insane actually. Okay, let's have a look what's happening here. Like, there's no one really in particular. I mean, the only person who's maybe overextending here is Nelia, but she decides to go in onto this. This ends up being a really good connection as well as like the silence on top of the engage is really good here. Ashe is having to use Ghost here straight away. You dodge that, yeah. That's exactly why I mentioned exhaust earlier. This is why it's rough doing exhaust on something like a Soraka, particularly against double engage, like range like this. Look just watch Soraka's pathing here, having to land exhaust and put herself in a really bad position. Having to like dodge Xerath E there, by the way. Just to land the exhaust on Ashe, and it puts yourself in a really bad position. So yeah, I think maybe she can get the turnaround kill here. Maybe she can kill Xerath here too. She misses her whip. I think on the whole, Nelia probably should have picked up 2 kills there. But yeah, you can see that was a really good connection there with the Nelia engaging your silence. That was like on point. But don't take exhaust. Just try not to. If you go heal there, honestly, I think you maybe it ends up being no deaths down there, but it gives you a massive health lead, resource lead over them, and then you can like play the next kind of 2 minutes a lot more chill. So that literally, you know, it's kind of funny how I mentioned exhaust and then we got to sit pretty quickly on, but yeah, that's the kind of thing I was expecting when you take exhaust. You're really awkward lane state now. Because you can't really hang around here either. You need to now be proactive, but it's kind of awkward. You can't really do anything. If anything, you're trying to look to go towards mid here. But yeah, that's the best you can do. You can look to freeze in this lane, which it does kind of look like what you're doing, which is quite nice. But yeah, I'd love to see if you can keep that up with the silencing on engage. Because that was really nice. Okay, you found out there's a control in that brush. You're trying to edge towards it. One thing I will say is, like, you're not going to be playing with Anelia that often, but try and, like, you want to be with her as much as possible to soak up the bonus XP. So if you don't know when Anelia last hits minions, her passive is like, it gives she and her nearest ally gain 50% of the experience they would have normally lost from sharing the kill, which adds up quite a lot. So try not to lose the XP that's been last hit here. Because in theory, both of you should be hitting level 6 before they hit level 6. Which means that you'll have your global before, like earlier. Might be able to use that on the map. I can definitely tell you're worried about Amumu coming down bot side. The Qs are just generally definitely been decent though. Just a horrible lane position here for you both to be in. Use of the silence is fine. I don't have any too much critical stuff going over it, particularly at your level. Okay, Neoya was being a bit sneaky here. She picked up the berries and got full HP. This is pretty smart from her, to be honest. Catches off the Xerath quite nicely. You just needed to realize that a little bit sooner and try and push in a bit more. Ashe uses ulti. Yeah, if you just react a little bit quicker, you're able to slow down this Ashe a little bit. And then she would be dead, yeah. Ooh, the level 6. Nice ult on pressure. Okay. So, yeah, just a little bit more awareness of where like AD carry is and where they're going to be pushing in. Because if you reacted maybe like half a second quicker, the Ashe would have died. Your Neoya would have been alive, really low though, but then maybe you could have done something to maybe counter this Amumu gank. But, I mean, on the whole, this is like minor stuff right now. Like, I'm just like nitpicking at like, you know, the minor mistakes. I haven't seen anything like outrageously wrong apart from the summoner, right? I thought your level up with your ulti and then using it was good. Sometimes people even in this ELO are too slow at doing that. Okay, did you already use your E? Yeah, so one thing I think I was kind of mention it, but I decided not to until now. You gotta kind of, you know how you did that silence with the Neoya earlier on and that engage? I think you kind of, at this point in the game, that you can't just keep spamming your E. Once you've already got like your wards coming through and stuff, you're already past the 500 gold mark, you need to ease it down on the Equinox on the E because you really need the silence for preventing engages or following up engages. So yeah, like here for example, your E is on cooldown, right? And then Neoya's just going to randomly go in here. But you don't have an E to necessarily follow this up, which could be quite nice, but I don't like the fight necessarily anyway. I think Neoya's pushing for it a little bit too hard. I think you could probably make yourself available though, there a little bit more. I understand the hesitance there, but the fight's already happened, and if it's either you going to die or Neoya's going to die, and it's much better that they're focusing you as opposed to Neoya, because it means that Neoya's going to be alive longer in the fight, right? It's better that they're focusing you. So you're not really getting chunked down. Like, if you should have been analyzing there, the auto hits there from Ashe. They weren't actually doing that much damage. Like if you look at the Ashe's auto attacks here on you, I know you got your Q healing you up a little bit here, but that damage there wasn't really like the flash. Like there's nothing to panic about there. I'd rather the Ashe hits you like 2 more times rather than switches to this Nui here right now. So I think you panic flashed there a little bit too early. That's a better silence. So yeah, it's just a game with very small margins now. So that like there, for example, if Ashe hits you 1 more time instead of the Nilia, and then that could have been all the difference there, right? Like, you would have been in the fight more. You could have maybe done it, thrown out a cheeky auto attack. Maybe you'd be in range for Q. So yeah, let yourself be a bait. Like their damage is consistent and not too outrageous in terms of like unexpected damage, right? So when it's just like the Ashe hitting you like that, you know how much damage is going to come through, right? So you don't have to like panic as such. There's no crits or anything like that to worry about. So I think you just chill in that situation and try and relax. It's better, as I said, it's better that they're hitting you than they're hitting the Nilia. Okay, so you could. Yeah, you can't get the kill on Seraph here, you just need to get out. It's a good silence to get out. Okay, you played that situation, okay? Not how I exactly would have done it, but it was fine. Nice use of the silence there to make sure you can't snipe you under the turret. Alright, I'm going to be paying attention a little bit more to your vision and stuff like that. Okay, so like, the main thing I'd be worried about you right now is that you've got no flash. The main thing that's going to get you is chain crowd control. So that's like Ashe Arrow into like maybe a Xerath E, maybe into an Amumu Bandage Toss. So I'd be reluctant to hang around too much away from minions, because even if you do get hit by an Ashe Arrow with no flash, the angles that they're going to have to find in order to land up follow-up crowd control into you is going to be relatively difficult. So I wouldn't necessarily be hanging out on the wings so much. If that makes sense. Like I'd rather you like standing on like diagonal opposite to the Ashe. So like even down here would be much safer. There's no real reason to go up to here unless you know you're safe to ward, because you just, if they come through here, if you get arrowed here and like Amumu's here, then you're screwed, right? Whereas if Amumu's here and you get Ashe arrowed here, that gives you a lot of time to get to your turret, and then also it's like you got these minions maybe blocking a skill shot coming through. So I'd rather you play like down here as opposed to up here. Like doing the ward there is fine, but then yeah, now you want to be like in this kind of position here. I think you just hit that, by the way. I think you just hit that blast cone. I don't think you leave that up. Because the Mumu is an idiot. Okay. Who did you ulti for, by the way? Just realized you used your ulti. Who are you panicking ulting for here? Oh, that's... No. You can't use your ulti like that, I'm afraid. Yeah, you fat fingered it. Okay, that makes sense then. So I won't judge you too much on that. But yeah, that's obviously a pretty bad ulti. I don't know if you know about Soraka, but you get more value when they're on lower HP. So it is when they're 39% HP or lower, you get the bigger heal out. So yeah, I'm sure you probably already know that, but I think it's worth mentioning for people that don't. Then let me choose it. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, this is like the weirdest thing in the world. Have you got normal ward charges? No, you don't. Okay, that's kind of funny. This whole situation is giga awkward. I'm just watching your position here and seeing like, yeah, this is good positioning because you want to make sure that you're in a position away from the Ashe, but you want to probably hug this wall up a little bit more so you can be in range to heal. You're too lost here. You need to make decisions faster in terms of where you need to be. Like, you see your two teammates still pushing in, you need to come in and back them up a little bit. There's no point going for the Seraph. Crap. The hell? Wasn't quite ready for that. So Victor's now chasing you but from behind. You just run away. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, in this situation here, someone has to die, right? Someone has to be a sacrifice. Because the Malzahar is deeper in the lane, he's the most likely one to die, right? So at this point, you need to be just thinking about your own safety and getting out. If it was the other way around, if you were the one overextended, it'd be your job to be like, hey, look at me, come kill me, kind of thing, right? But here, your job here is just to get the hell out. So you would just throw a Q, max range Q, try and slow down the Victor. Don't walk back into him. You're way too close to him here anyway, right? And then if you can, silence him on the ground here and make it so like if he were to keep pursuing, he would get rooted. So yeah, like that silence there was kind of off. So you want to place that silence like so it's like sometimes like maybe not even the initial damage even hits him, but like it's so far in front of him that if he walks into it, he's silenced, and but if he like keeps pursuing you, he gets rooted. So it's just it's way too under him. Like in that kind of case, you don't even get the initial damage onto him. You actually have to do it like further in front of him, if that makes sense. You might actually get away if you do that, if you land that properly. Might. It's a big might. But yeah, that's a bit. I mean, it's very difficult to get away from that, even if you did everything that I just said. I mean, ideally that's what you do anyway, but it's like it's not. It doesn't look great. Okay, so around 14 minutes into the game, I would be tempted to start looking to go into mid lane, but there is a Herald coming down bot side, so yeah, you do kind of want to come down bot side and see if you can do anything about that. Enemy team will probably force this the Herald situation. Yeah, not the most fantastic use of Equinox there. I think here, you're then looking just to get back into mid. I would just heal up this Malzahar to full, back off, recall, and then go to mid. Like, you're not really getting much done here now at this point. There's nothing to fight for or defend or whatever, really. Just heal Malzahar to full, like put down a ward for him in the tri-brush, right? And then reset. Because otherwise you're just going to have too little power to contest anything on the map now, right? Oh boy. Yeah, I would just here, I would just use my health bar just to heal up someone up to full and just recall. Yeah, I think you really need to start looking to get into mid if you can now. It's getting quite late into the game. That ward could very easily go into that brush there, by the way. From this wall here. That ward should be in the brush. Yeah, you should be mid. Yeah. I think here it's kind of like what happens in the bot lane. You just need to be aware of the things that are happening. There's like 2 fights going on right now, so you should be like thinking about using your ulti anyway, right? But here when your Neil's like rushing in, you should be ignoring like the casting minions there and just going up to try and help here. So, yeah. Do you think she died there? Yeah, but like even regardless, like you should be like giving her a little top up anyway on the way out. Like I think if you just got there like 1 second earlier again for your W, she doesn't die as well. I'm still not fond of you being bot lane still, because it just means that if you're stuck down here bot, right, the amount of vision that you're going to get on the map here is just literally this little area here. Is limiting your whole team in terms of like eyes. You really need to be mid so you can get some rotations and stuff visible and see what's going on if they're invading from this side and stuff like that. Like wards generally in this spot aren't like fantastic. Does that make sense? Like you really need to get a more central position here now for the dragons and the baron. So yeah, literally playing ambulance here and just trying to make sure this Nilia doesn't die. Nice Q land, pass over to the Nilia. She's probably going to need to recall anyway, so at this point back off. Okay, so do you have wards? I think you ran out of charges, but like there would have been a good point, for example, to get one deep vision in. Like you can relatively see what's going on here because you got a decent amount of vision from your team here. It could be what, like, and if you had a ward charge, ward there, like you're already quite close at this point anyway, so it'd be ward charge there and then hit the Scryer's bloom, but you don't have a ward charge, so. And also, you're going to really need to start having to get a ward in the middle of the lane to start seeing artillery coming through. So the Xerath E pokes, the Victor E poke, the Xerath Q poke, you're going to need to start seeing those coming flying through, and like even the Ash arrow. So you're going to need a ward somewhere around here at some point if possible. So if you don't have ward charges for that, I would personally be going back and going getting some wards for that. Okay, I'm going to have to pay attention to what abilities you have ready here and when they're being cast. Okay. Okay, so the silence here straight away was the right play. It's a shame that the Q misses. Yeah, and the exhaust comes in late. So you can see that's another example of a game where exhaust is just like a bit shit. I think you die here, right? Yeah. I think at this point it's near unwinnable. The deficit here at this point is going to be unreal, and there's not really much you can do as a Soraka when the game's this far behind. You're playing a lot really far back. You're playing, trying to get some decent silences off. I wouldn't be wasting ultis on random people. That he's like, there's no way he gets there to this Victor, right? And if he gets healed here, he still dies. I wouldn't bother wasting ulti on that, personally. I get why you're trying to do that though. Like trying to salvage anything, right? What the hell is going on here? Okay, as soon... Because Xerath always shows up on the map when he's ulting. As soon as this is seen here, the first thing that you should be doing here is silencing this Victor, in my opinion. And it should be like a silent circle so that it's more covering down the bot side. Because you don't care if he walks back up, but you don't want him to come into this fight. So I'd interrupt this ulti and try and make it so he doesn't walk into this next fight. This Xerath. Well, either Xerath, yeah. These guys are really caught off. Like, the urgency is up here is crazy right now. These guys are way off the mark here. Heal just in time. This is really good for your team. Now you can get Dragon. Try and get those berries if you can. I think it's fine that you're a sacrificial lamb for that. It's not the end of the world. Overall, it's really good for your team, that set of plays. Yeah, I don't think there's anything you could have done there in time, right? That's just a horrible... Like, as soon as the Ash arrow lands, there's nothing you can do. And then you're kind of pathing really badly here. It's so funny, like, you have to walk back in, further into Ash's auto attack range to exhaust her and then try and walk out. It's happened a lot, hasn't it, this game? Sign FK. I think we just stop it here then if Sign is rage quit. Oh yeah, Sign's rage quit. Okay, there's no point looking at this game anymore. But yeah, not the easiest game to give you proper advice on. I think overall you seem quite comfortable playing Soraka. I think stop taking exhaust on her, as like I've already mentioned. I think that's been probably the main oof, really. And it sounds weird to say it, like, I don't know, you usually have a lot more punishing things to say, but the exhaust on the Soraka there, I think, was is the biggie. I think one other thing was probably your awareness on terms of when fights were going to happen, or if they were already happening. There were a couple of cases with your AD carry you didn't really seem aware of. Maybe you're focusing a little bit too much on CSing. I think both cases were involving you CSing. So try and pay a little bit more attention to when the AD carry is going to be pulling the trigger. Because I think there's a couple of situations that the margins were very small, but if you reacted like a second quicker, story could have been changed. Also, don't be afraid to use your own health pool as a way to make it so that your AD carry doesn't take damage, right? So when you panic flashed away from the Ashe in the bot lane, when she wasn't really going to kill you anytime soon, I think you just need to like calm down in those moments. It's okay that they're hitting you in a 2v2 situation. It's like, how much can you milk the damage onto you before then you need to start looking at kiting even more, making them use even more resources to catch after you while your AD carry just does your thing, right? Yeah, it's a shame that the sign went FK, so we can't really analyze the late game, but the game was pretty much over anyway. In terms of vision, I don't think there was anything bad about your vision, but I don't think any of it was particularly like noteworthy, amazing style. One thing I want you to pay attention to is trying to get a ward, particularly like even more important against like the artillery mages, like the Xerath and the Victor. And like you got an Ashe arrow there too, but try and get those deeper lane wards in. Like when you're playing in the mid lane, you gotta get that deeper lane wards in so you'd help you dodge those skill shots. Otherwise you're just gonna be taking free damage. Your team's just all going to be taking free damage for no reason, right? But yeah, you didn't play the perfect game. But you didn't play the worst game. I don't think necessarily this game was like, you know, obviously lost down to you or anything like that, but hopefully like the little things there you can take into some of your games. Let me just check your item build afterwards. Okay, I'm gonna critique your item build. I hate your item build. Why are you taking Oblivion Orb? From my eyes, it's literally no. I mean, okay, so firstly, on enchanters, right now, and item builds, I do not recommend any enchanters taking anti-heal. I think anti-heal and enchanters is super duper garbage. Giga garbage. The only one healing there really is Darius, right? But for the Oblivion Orb to apply the Grievous Wounds, you need to be doing damage on Soraka, right? And the like, when did you pick up this Oblivion Orb, for example? Like, you're picking it up around about here, around about 20 minutes. I mean, like 6 minutes into the game, you've healing reduced 200, right? It's just a complete waste of item. You could have had, you could be building towards, you know, you would have Forbidden Idol, you would have building towards like a Redemption or a Staff of Flowing Water, something like that. Like, don't ever build Grievous Wounds on enchanters, honestly. Ever since they made it so that heals don't apply from the Chemtech, the Grievous Wounds, it's just not worth it. Not at all. So just avoid taking Oblivion Orb, all cases, literally all cases. This is not your job to buy. If there's healing that needs to be reduced on the enemy team, it's other people who need to be picking up the anti-heal. It used to be support used to take it, but like now it's not. It's like if you're playing like a tank, Thormel is okay. If you're playing mage support, there's in the case to go Oblivion Orb sometimes. But yeah, like don't do it. Just don't bother. Just go into your normal Redemption, most likely second item, Staff of Flowing Water, Ardent Sansa, maybe it's okay-ish. Maybe like here, honestly, you could make an argument to go Chalice second item. Chalice second item is pretty good. You know, if someone gets hit by an Ash Arrow, your AD carry doesn't have cleanse, it gets you them out of that. You know, there's a lot of crowd control from the Amumu as well, so you could you definitely got options here. Chalice is also, yeah, Chalice is probably like one of the best items here. You could probably take this game. Not a huge fan of it. Not Chalice, Michael's. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, don't build Grievous Wounds on Enchanter supports. It's like, yeah, it's not good at all. But I hope that helps, Luxie. I would have, I don't know, it's not exactly the easiest game to give you proper advice on the lane. I could tell straight away the laning phase was going to be horrible anyway. Double poke in lane is always really, really tough to give you tips on anyway. It's usually just about finding those opportunities to go in when you can do, and just like playing dodgeball in lane. Once they've used their skill shots, you can maybe move in to use your Q, get the revitalize heal and stuff. So yeah, it's just a bit of dodgeball in lane really. But they'll always have the advantage because their damage numbers are higher. But if they don't get the kills, if Seraph doesn't get the kills early, you're already in a better position. So yeah, and take someone a hill. Alright, no problem. Oh, right, I think that is me done with coaching today. I think that was quite a few coaching sessions today. Hope you guys enjoyed that.